A lot has changed overnight, but Buick and GMC's commitment to you remains the same. We understand you want to feel safe, so we're offering current owners complimentary OnStar Crisis Assist services. Should you need a vehicle, we're offering 0% financing for up to 84 months with deferred payment options for 120 days. Plus, you may have the option to shop online and take delivery at home. Visit our websites for the help you need.
Visit AutoSpot GMC today.
Hello, my name is Mark Berry. I'm a 4-year Air Force veteran and close to 20 years of DoD fire service. Last year, June of 2019, we happened to have one of the hardest parts of our lives happen. We had a medical with me, ended up with massive hemoptysis. And during that time, while I was in the medically induced coma, my wife frantically looked for help. She found the congressman's office, which responded extremely quickly. They found out that I was improperly coded in the VA and quickly helped to fix it, which allowed me to get a medical flight to UCLA and get the medical treatment I needed, and that's why I'm here today.
I just want to say to anyone out there, if you have any federal issues, please visit your congressman's office to see what resources are available.
This ad was paid for with official funds from the office of Congressman Michael F.Q. San Nicolas.
Hi, I'm Little Mr. Gar, 2019. I just want all of the sailors in the USS TR to know that I'm thinking and praying for you. Thank you. Bye.
Hafide, my name is Kai, and on behalf of the Island Cuisine family, I would like to send out a great big Undunkulunesi Zuwas Maasi. Thank you to all USS Theodore Roosevelt sailors for all that you do. We wish and send all prayers for a speedy recovery, and we will keep you all in our thoughts. Thank you for your service. God bless.
Hafide, my family and I extend our deepest condolences to the friends, family, shipmates of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, sailor who passed away recently. May we join the people of Guam in extending our prayers and our support, and may God continue to provide comfort and strength during this very difficult time. Sudus Masi.
Hafide, I'm Jim Moylan, and I want to extend my condolences to the family members and the loved ones of Chief Petty Officer Charles Tracker Jr., who had passed and was amongst those who tested positive for the coronavirus on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. I understand the hardship one experiences while serving our country, and I appreciate the time and effort our military members put in to protect our country and her borders and the sacrifices they made, most especially at a time like this with the extremities of COVID-19, where we all are in a fight not many have experienced before. To all those affected by this, let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers. We are in this fight together, and we will weather the storm together. Stay safe and protected, and may God bless the sailors of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, and God bless Guam.
Funerals actually take a lot more planning than I expected. With us using Island Cuisine for the first time, of course we were iffy, but once they came and showed us their service, their food, we tasted their food and everything, we definitely use them again because their service and food is just awesome.
Hafa day and welcome to Candid News. I'm Johnny Rosario.
And I'm Troy Torres.
It is April 29th on this lovely Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah, it is.
Welcome to our studios here in Tumon, Guam. This is our second show today. Earlier today, we did a show, it was a Zoom conference with Senator Jim Moylan. And Senator Jim Moylan spent a day or a morning in the shoes of Candid News, where he did cold calls to the Joint Information Center. And this was after making phone calls to several government agencies prior to this public forum that he had online. And they said, oh, you have to get all your information from the Joint Information Center. So he calls the Joint Information Center, and he gets 0 responses from Jenna Blas. Nothing. He asked about the economic recovery stuff. He asked about the finances of the government. He asked about a whole bunch of different things, and he could not get a single answer. All she said was, call Rev and Tax for this, call DOA for this, and so the senator calls all these different places, and he just can't get anyone to answer the phone. I was like, hey, welcome to our world, Senator. Now you know how we feel.
So embarrassing. Even a sitting senator can't even get information.
But before we go into the major topics, we're going to go right back to Chubby Robbie.
Okay.
Because this guy is a freaking star, and I am his #1 fan. That's the first one. Here's the second one. I love him so much. I just love this. Someone told me that he lives in Saipan. He's not from Guam, and that makes me so sad because Corona, we cannot travel right now, or we have to spend all of our days in quarantine if we go to Saipan. The governor there will probably have us assassinated in one of those COVID-19 hotels. They say, "Oh, died of coronavirus." Okay, all right. So earlier today,
and Congressman Nicholas ended up being part of the conversation. I was listening on my way down from Jigo. You need a passport to get to my house, right? So the little amount that he was on, he said a lot.
A lot, and he's basically imploring the Guam legislature, can you guys have oversight hearings? He says, I need you guys to have oversight hearings because, like a growing number of senators now, there is a big concern about how Governor Lulian Guerrero is spending both local and federal money, and the lack of transparency and accountability in the administration is leading to a whole lot less confidence in the administration. And of course, one of our big stories tonight being a trust bomber, and that is the Tony Babalta, Linda DeNorsi story. But before we get to that, there is, earlier today, I signed us up for a Buen Perpetuo account. Go ahead and cast on my screen again. So Buen Perpetuo is first of its kind on Guam. They do this in many other places. Actually, why don't we go first to Fan, to the graphic on it, so that it's easier for people to see. So is that the only one? There's the other one that has the 3.
There's more.
Oh, you're gonna play it through? Okay. Well, so the vision of this business, Buen Perpetuo, is to create a market where they can create jobs and support veterans. the veterans community and those who need a second chance, which is something that was appealing to us when we first, when the manager or when the owner of this brought this to us at first. Go ahead back to the thing, so because I need to continue here on. The majority of the proceeds will go into a fund that will help members in the community who are struggling financially. And if you want to know more about that, you can contact them at info@buenprobetsu.com. Go back to my screen so people can see the website. So what it is, it's basically an online order place where you can get
Groceries.
not full groceries, but things that you would find at a convenience store. So they're going to add cigarettes to this, but currently you can get beer, snacks, soft drinks, frozen sundries, including ice bags, prepared foods, wines. So like one of the vendors that they get is from Circle K. So think of things that you can get in Circle K, and those are the things that you can order, and you can just peruse through this menu. And it's pretty easy. Let's click on snacks. And all you have to do is sign up. You create an account. It just asks you for your first name, your last name, and an email address.
I really want pistachios.
This is wonderful for me because in the middle of the day when I run out of cigarettes, I don't want to go to the store. So this is going to be my cigarettes ordering place. And also, like while I'm placing my order for cigarettes, I am gonna get myself, check this out. Go to soft drinks and water. I think it was page 4. Lychee. No.
For real?
No, not a for real, but that's all. Oh, there. No, not a Froster. They should probably rename that. A Polar Pop. I'm gonna get a Tonki Polar Pop, the extra large. You know the Fuse iced tea? That's the one that I get. And then I have I guess there's an option to tell them to note there, make it like 3/4 full of ice.
No, mine has to be jam-packed.
Jam-packed with ice?
Jam-packed.
You like a lot of ice, right?
Yeah.
So all you do is, you place your order. It's just like any other ordering site. You pay using your credit card or PayPal or whatever, and then they deliver it directly to where you are. It's so cool. They're creating jobs at a time. So this is an example about how the economy is reforming itself because the market has had to, or people have had to respond to a new market.
Right.
Or the market has had to respond to people's demands now, and a lot of that has to do with people staying at home. There are also not many people with a disposable income. When the unemployment checks come, that's going to change. So there are various factors in this very changing and dynamic economy. And this new company, Buen Probetsu, and yes, they are an advertiser of Candid News now, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Buen Probetsu. Chalu. Buen Probetsu. .com. Moving on to the news. Can you post up the flyer of the church? We are going to protest, ladies and gentlemen. Stretch it. So, Eric, Johnny, Carlos, Jacob, Nancy, and I have been mulling around. What are we going to do about this whole issue of Linda DeNorsi, the director of public health, telling the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church asked, right?
Yes.
They said, can we reopen our masses? And we're going to do it in a responsible way. We're going to have people come to the church grounds and park. And we're going to ask them, don't get out of your car. Listen to the mass over the loudspeaker, or maybe they'll still live cast it and people can watch from their phones in their cars. And then when the time comes, when the summit of the mass comes, the priest and the Eucharistic ministers will come outside and they'll administer the Eucharist to each car. And they'll be wearing masks and gloves. And so it's actually even safer than what's going on at the grocery stores.
Right.
Or as Father Paul Goffigan says, Home Depot. So Father Paul Goffigan, who's the chairman of the Liturgical Commission for the Archdiocese, on April 22nd, wrote a letter to Linda DeNorsi, the director of public health, saying, can we do this? And then there's also some processes that he's proposed for baptismals, weddings, funerals, and these are limited party. This is just like a few people at each of these things, and with social distancing guidelines
Yeah, like
in
the
place.
funerals.
Yeah, not like the other one, the one with lots of pictures on it, but like, you know, the actual social distancing policies in place. And so the Linda DeNorsi, 2 days later on April 24, she writes back a very trite response, and she says, we neither support nor approve of the Sacramento, et cetera, et cetera. And Tim Rohr, in a conversation with with Bob Klitsky on Tall Tales on 93.3 FM this afternoon, he brought up a point. He said, you know, it would be one thing if Linda DeNorsi said, we cannot approve this. It is quite something else that she said, we neither support nor approve of this. It's like, you know, it's like a double slap to Catholics who want to be able to participate in the summit of their Christian lives, and that is in the Eucharist, the administration of the Eucharist in communion at church. And the Catholic Church wants to meet the government halfway. And so this for those of you who might get an icky taste in your mouth when I said that the church wants to meet the government halfway, it's because there should be a separation of the church and the government. The government should not be telling people that they are regulated from practicing their faith. It's the first 16 words of the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution. Part of it says the government cannot make a law or a rule or a policy or whatever that prohibits the free exercise of religion. And that's what Governor Lulian Guerrero and now her Director of Public Health, Linda DeNorsi, have done by mandating the closure of churches and by saying that, no, you cannot, we do not support or approve of the reopening of the churches. It's been a slap in the face. And there was a conversation that Frenchie was having, Tim Rohr was having, Jose Martinez, and Ray Gibson, my cousin Ray. We're the same, our family, you know, we're a family of sinners. I'm more of a sinner than cousin Ray. But, you know, he was hot on this whole issue, not so much because he's a practicing Catholic, because he's not, more so because, you know, he's a Catholic and he's an American, and he wants that religious freedom. And one of the things that Tim Rohr said was, what are we all gonna do about it? And what is the Catholic Church on Guam gonna do about it? What decision are they gonna make? And so we here at Candid thought, why don't we help the situation? Why don't we do something that is still responsible, still abides by the social distancing thing? There is a mass that's scheduled this Sunday, May 3rd at 9:30 a.m.
I thought May 2nd.
I got it wrong.
Oh,
so it's May 3rd. Okay. May 3rd, Sunday at 9:30 a.m. that the Archbishop will be saying inside the Ganya Cathedral. And it's not open to the public because that is apparently what the lieu law of the land is. But why don't you join us? Because all of us, we are going to go in our cars with our households, and we're gonna park at the grounds of the cathedral. You know, the side streets that people park, and then there's the main parking lot of the cathedral across where the Congress building is. There's that other parking lot. There's a lot of parking in that area of Agania. So what we're just gonna do is park there by 9:30 and stay in our cars throughout the Mass's duration, listen to the Mass, watch the Mass being said by the Archbishop on our phones inside our cars. And hopefully this message gets to the Liturgical Commission and to the Archbishop that there are people who are going to be at the grounds of the cathedral at 9:30, and hopefully a message gets to the Archbishop that there are a lot of us who are outside, and he makes the decision to put on his mask and his gloves and bring the communion host outside during that part of the Mass where he administers the Eucharist, and he can go to the cars and give the communion to all of us. Of course, we should all be wearing our masks and our gloves or whatever, right? To do the responsible thing and helping to stop the spread of the coronavirus, or to not spread it to other people. This is much safer than what's being done at the grocery stores. This is essential to the lives of Catholics, and so why not? It is a demonstration in civil disobedience, in that Linda DeNorsi is saying to the Catholic Church, no, you can't do it. And the Catholic people are saying, screw you. Who are you to tell me what we can or cannot do? So we invite you. Candid News Group invites you this Sunday at 9:30 a.m. to join us at the grounds of the Igania Cathedral. And we implore, or we will pray that the Holy Spirit speaks to Archbishop Burns, and maybe we can, for the first time in, 6 weeks, receive Holy Communion.
Mm-hmm. It's been that long?
I think it has, right? 5 weeks?
Yep.
5, 6 weeks, because it's almost the end of May, right? I mean, it's almost end of April. The emergency started in mid-March. Yeah, it's been 6 weeks. We've missed Mass for almost all of Lent, missed Mass for Easter. And when I say Mass, I mean, the actual communion with the people and with the priest, and the receiving of the
kids
Eucharist.
Receiving confirmation.
Yeah. And so this is sort of enough is enough, but also we need enough in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so so let's do this, guys.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not in. We got to change that.
Well, whatever.
We're down. Are you down, Brown? Huh? Are you down for Jesus Christ? Eh? We have to be.
Last Mass was on March 16, 2020.
Oh, okay. Whatever the last Mass was, I went there. And then there was the news that one of the pockets or whatever was from a senior center. And I was like, man, the Mass I go to has a lot of senior citizens. I pray for that person, but I hope it's not me. And we're not alone in our thoughts on this. Linda DeNorsi is now under federal investigation. That is according to a candid source in Washington, D.C. And that probably resulted from U.S. Attorney Sean Anderson forwarding her rebuke letter of Father Paul Gofigan to the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice today. This is breaking news. This is breaking news tonight. This is a very big deal. This is a huge story, and it's because it's not every day that government officials using the color of their authority break a constitutional right like the right of religious freedom.
I think they're just so used to telling us no, this administration, that they don't even realize what they're saying no to.
No, you cannot do it, you guys. No, you cannot.
No, Nick. This administration, that they don't even realize what they're saying no to. You cannot do it, you guys.
Oh, that's how I sound. All right. And speaking of, gosh, we only have 3 really big stories. So there's the church one, there's the double pay issue, right? And then there's there's the big one, the Tony Babalta, Linda DeNorsi.
Lie.
So we'll get back to Linda. This is not the end of Linda DeNorsi for our newscast tonight. There is, we're gonna go back to her on our big story that Jacob Nakamura did. But first, let's go to your comments. DT says, set up a couple of poker tables at Plaza de España and everything's okay.
Dwayne Sanchez says, don't forget also on May 2nd, I lost it.
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
Reconsecration or something?
Yes, I have that. Hang on.
Hang in.
1 second. Let me go to that.
I don't know who was calling the phone, but
She didn't know we're live.
yeah.
That phone never rings until we're live. Okay, so.
Oh my God.
maybe they want to be on the show.
Canada News.
So today the Archdiocese just released this. On May 2nd, that's Saturday, Archbishop Burns will consecrate our island to the Blessed Virgin Mary in line with the Catholic Church's efforts in the United States and Canada.
I don't know.
Hello, this is Troy. Yes? I'm sorry, say it again. Oh, do you want to say this to our listening audience live? Okay, hold on. Let me put you on speakerphone, sir. Okay, sir, go ahead and say what you were saying about protesting the day before. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Hi. Go ahead and say what you were saying about protesting.
We should all gather when the trees are down. Hello?
I'm listening.
Yeah, we should go down. And there's going to be first Sunday, you know?
Say it again.
I don't know. I cannot understand. That's why I gave you the phone.
Sir, can you say that again? I'm sorry, you're coming in muffled. If you're listening and you're able to get a better connection, you can call back and we'll put you right on the show. But what he was saying was he was saying something about protesting the day before Mass, but maybe he'll call back. So on May 2nd, that Saturday, the Archbishop will reconsecrate Guam to the Blessed Virgin Mary in line with the Church's efforts in the United States and Canada. The reconsecration will take place during 5 a.m. Mass on Saturday, which will be broadcast from the cathedral on KUAM TV Channel 8, as well as live streamed on KUAM's Facebook site and the AganiaCathedral.org website. Following the Mass, the historic statue of Santa Maria in Camalin will travel through island villages and pass all of Guam's Catholic churches. It will be the first time the image will be taken down from its niche at the cathedral for other than the annual celebration of the Feast of the Immaculate Conception every December 8th. Oh, I didn't know that. Archbishop Burns asks all faithful to remain united in prayer and to look to the model of deep faith and devotion to Jesus Christ that our loving patroness and Blessed Mother presents to us. The faithful are encouraged to stand outside their respective homes in prayer, or even by the roadsides, and where applicable, wave should they see the passing vehicle carrying the statue of Santa Maria in Camalin. Everyone is kindly asked to strictly adhere to safety protocols related to COVID-19 and keep distances of at least 6 feet from one another. I wonder what Linda DeNorsi will say about this. The reconsecration will be done in unity with the Catholic Church in the United States, which will reconsecrate itself to Mother Mary in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has afflicted the U.S. and many parts of the world. Archbishop Jose Gomez, the president of the U.S. Bishops' Conference, invited all U.S. bishops to join him on May 1, which is May 2 for Guam due to the time difference, in reconsecrating the U.S. to the Blessed Virgin Mary amid the difficulties of the global pandemic. The consecration of Guam and the U.S. will take place at the same time the bishops of Canada will consecrate their country to our Blessed Mother. In a letter to U.S. bishops, Archbishop Gomez, the Archbishop of Los Angeles, said, every year the Church seeks the special intercession of the Mother of God during the month of May. This year, we seek the assistance of Our Lady all the more earnestly as we face together the effects of the global pandemic. Oh, this is pretty cool. They're going to take down the Santa Maria in Camalin statue for the first time for something other than the procession, the December 8th procession, and they're going to motorcade it, right? Is that the term for it? They're going to motorcade the statue throughout the village? Oh, that's pretty cool.
What village?
Every village. They said every village, through the roads. Well, I don't know if they're going to go through every single road, but...
Maybe the main thoroughfares.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right?
Cool.
Like, how does it work with, like, Dedido? They have a lot of main thoroughfares. Probably, like, the main secondary roads, right?
Yeah, maybe like Route 1 or Route 3.
Route 1, Route 3, Route 27, Route...
69.
Route 69. Eh? This is a Christian conversation here. So yes, that will be happening. So moving on to, your comments. I'm so sorry. Your comments. Stand by.
Marcy needs exorcism. Yes, Mark.
Bing Leon Girl says, more like pray to get this governor out of office and her flock of idiots. Dwayne Santos says he can bring cases of water. That's very nice of you, Dwayne. But you know what? We all should not be getting out of our cars during our gathering on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So, we should just all bring our own water and whatever to eat within our cars so that no one is actually going out of their cars to intermingle anywhere. But thank you, Dwayne. That's very thoughtful of you. DT says 9:30 a.m. Cathedral Mass Candid poker game.
Well, we aren't the ones that played poker.
Dwayne Saunders says, I am glad to be alive to attend. Oh, thank you guys for sharing Candid News Group with your friends and family. I appreciate it. Robert Pagio, thank you for doing that. Demi Elliptico says, I'm down. My life has always been in God's hands. Nice. Brandon Kidachai says, I am glad that I am alive to hear you. The people of Guam will never let her live that down. Jacob Nakamura says, oh boy, Linda gonna get her own room over her head with 3 squares a day courtesy of Club Fed. Justine Rodriguez Flores says, anyone ever notice that Candid only uses pretty pictures of the people they like?
Call out.
Dwayne Sanchez, let's be glad to be alive to go there. DT says Tony Mabalta is the Pacific Star today.
Poker chips on the 19th floor.
Marshall R.C. Jr. says the governor is going to throw Rebecca Respicio's arse-kissing butt under the bus, LOL. Oh, Ani says, hi, Auntie Johnny and Uncle Troy. Hi, Ani.
Hi, Ani. We miss you.
We love you. Let's see. I guess Monica was saying something above, but you know how it cuts off. So Jacob responds to Monica, right? Johnny is so beautiful. When my girlfriend dumps me, I'm gonna sweep Johnny off her feet. Hi, honey, just kidding. Mike Graceblot says burrito. Burrito.
Burrito. That's a person.
No, I can swear that's a burrito emoji.
Oh. No, there's a person called Burrito or something.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Never mind.
I think that's Joey.
Oh.
I would have made fun. If I had a classmate named Burrito, I would have been one of those, not so nice people. Mike Grace Blah says, we're not gonna protest. No. We're not gonna protest. Mark again says, Zengin Todzagi, line 1, pues, line 2. Lucy Santos says, Troy, so when we going to receive our stimulus, some people didn't get it. Why wait? Some people are suffering. Lucy, I'm very sorry to tell you that we do not have an answer for you because...
They don't even have an answer.
Well, the answers they've been giving have been lies. Mm-hmm. They said, first they said 2 to 3 weeks, then they said 3 to 4 weeks. Now it's, end of May.
I think the best is wait, let us collect a little bit interest.
At Bank of Guam. Yeah, no kidding. And so, Lucy, I'm really sorry. If you weren't one of the people who received a stimulus check using local funds, that means that in 2018, your gross adjusted income was $10,000 or less, then you have to wait until the federal money comes in. And really, we don't know. Mm-hmm. We don't know yet. DT says the motorcade can stop in Parisville by Casa de Clueless. I love you guys and all of your comments. Jerry Guam says, wear your I'm in shirts to play poker in front of the church. Mailman says, was there a poker game after that? Brandy Hall and Jacob are laughing at us in our burrito thing. Pedro Tadella says, Troy, play Robbie dancing. He's from Saipan. We do, at the beginning of every show now, we play Robbie dancing. And so we have confirmation that he is from Saipan. Ismael Velez says, Candid has a talent for finding the most hideous pictures on these people to post there. Moving on to double pay. So over the past few days, we've been holding on to a story about a dispute that seems to have arisen between GFT and DOE Superintendent John Fernandez, not about, well, kind of about double pay. So
I think the bigger story there is using government funds to fund a private hospital, which is COVID-free.
Yes.
Versus them going, that's a whole different story in itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. And you can find that in part one of the two-part report that we published 2 days ago.
These are DOE nurses that are at the schools during regular school time. They were placed at GRMC, which is a COVID-free hospital. Something is wrong with that.
So if you go to our website, I think it was 2 days ago, it may have been 3 days ago, part one of this report that we did about a meeting that happened between GFT, GovGuam, and GRMC on these 8 nurses, school nurses, so they're DOE nurses, who have been required to report to work at GRMC. Part one was about the fact that, they're working at a private hospital and, who funds it and all that stuff, right? And we told you that there would be a part two and it would be about double pay. And since that story ran, the governor has come out and said, I'm not gonna pay double pay. And this is an entitlement under Rule 8.4 of the Government of Guam Personnel Rules and Regulations that those government employees who work during an emergency activation, a qualified emergency activation, of which this is one, would be paid at double their hourly rate. And then, we never even discussed that they're also supposed to be paid 25% hazard pay at their hourly rate. So it's really 2.25 times.
But Troy, if this was already in the books, why would they have to do a law again?
It wasn't. Remember what happened was, when they were doing Bill 326, the hazard pay bill, someone made it was the legislature, they do stupid things all the time. Someone made an amendment to disqualify Government of Guam employees from Rule 8.4. And so we remember we were loud about that. We said, hey, the legislature just took out double pay from their bill. And so what Selena Nelson did was she went back in, she amended that again, and she said that the employees shall receive double pay as according to Rule 8.4 of the Government of Guam Rules and Regulations. The legislature was just reinforcing it. They were just covering their butts from a mistake that they made during the sausage-making process of the bill. So whether or not that bill passed into law, it wasn't the point. It was that there are existing rules and regulations that say these employees are supposed to get paid double pay. And the news in the veto of that bill was in the veto message, because the governor has never, before this veto message, addressed the issue of double pay. She just hasn't been paying it. But, it's still left room open for interpretation that, hey, maybe she's going to pay it and back pay it and then start paying it forward. But in her veto message, she says, no, I'm not going to pay it. It's going to cost too much. And so in this part two report on the DOE nurses, we go into a conversation that we have with John Fernandez where we tell him, hey, Sanjay Sharma, who's the vice president of the GFT, said that your 2 deputies who were at this meeting were in support of the nurses getting the double pay. And John Fernandez says that's not the official statement from the Department of Education. We are waiting for legal guidance. There is a gray area. If the legal people, like the Attorney General's office, Governor's Legal Counsel, tell us that this is going to fly, then yes, we want our employees who work during the emergencies to get double pay. On the other side of town, though, GPA and GWA managers are giving their employees who work during the emergency that double pay. Basically, they're defying the governor. But honestly, they're just following the law.
Right.
and because they're liable, those agencies are liable to their employees for all of that. And so there was this, someone made a Dear Governor thing, right? And can you read that? It's I put it into our chat room. It's just a few chats up.
Got it.
But don't cast to my screen, Cello, because it's yeah.
Dear Governor, we feel abandoned in this war against the invisible enemy on our island, most especially after you vetoed Bill 326-35. Governor, you asked us first responders to help you. We are. You asked us to support your executive orders to help keep the public safe. We are. We have given so much support that we leave our families to fend for themselves while we are on the front line in this mass time of fear and unknown in the world. Then we risk potentially exposing our families to COVID-19 because our government has no supply of personal protective equipment. You still asked us to continue with the frontline mission, knowing we do not have the proper personal protective equipment. We have continued the frontline mission day and night, waiting. You told us not to worry. COVID compensation for first responders will come. It hasn't. You told us not to worry. Differential pay will come. It hasn't. So here we are on the front line of this pandemic, still waiting. I wait alongside my fellow first responders, forced to reuse personal protective equipment for days at a time, forced to purchase our own cleaning and sanitizing agents because the government has no steady supply, and having to buy additional provisions for family and friends that help care for our children while we are on the front line. First responders make contact with hundreds of people in a single day for emergency calls and criminal complaints. Public safety agencies across the United States of America have implemented various types of differential pay and are actively paying their first responders because they are all aware there is a higher risk of exposure to frontliners. So here we are in week 7 of this crisis, still doing our part. Now it is time to do yours. Do what is right and compensate our first responders as promised and as written in Department of Administration's rules and regulations at double rate of pay. We earned the compensation and we have waited far too long. Also, if GovGuam employees are furloughed as a result of COVID-19, does this mean you will create local stimulus or more unemployment programs? Asking for a friend.
So you can hear that this is someone who, it's either someone who's on the front lines or it's a family member of one of them who
Doesn't
wrote
matter
that.
who it is, this is the truth.
And it's very heartfelt and it's very heartbreaking knowing that our governor is not going to stand behind her employees who are the ones putting in the work during this emergency and not getting the presidential suite at the Pacific Star Hotel. You know? Well,
Party on down to the XKB.
Something's telling me that her staff is getting this double pay. You know?
Yeah.
And we just need to figure this out and FOIA those records because I just wouldn't be surprised. So Senator Joseph Augustine, who's the chairman of the Budget Committee, now is asking what's going on with this double pay issue. He sent a letter to Ed Byrne, the Director of Administration, seeking an explanation for their non-compliance with Personnel Rules and Regulations 8.406 relative to double pay for essential employees during an emergency. The DOA PRR is the blueprint for which government and departments and agencies practice and exercise relative to personnel matters. The rule states those employees required to remain on duty to provide essential services shall be paid at double the regular rate or granted compensatory leave credits for the hours worked during the period the facility is closed and the other employees are on excused leave. On March 14, the governor signed Executive Order 2020-03, where she declared Guam in a state of emergency. This order should have executed the provision for the double pay of essential employees as determined by the agency head. These employees were required to report to work while others not required were placed on administrative leave with pay status. Quote, to date, our hardworking essential employees have not been compensated in accordance with the rules. We need to fix this, Senator San Augustine says. Today I sent a letter So Mr. Byrne of DOA asking for an explanation as to why they are not in compliance with this rule. And it is my hope that we will be able to get to the bottom of this issue. All our personnel working to fight this invisible enemy are entitled to this benefit for working during this emergency. We need to ensure that our very government is not violating the same rules that was adopted by us, said Senator Augustine. I just want to say, and I'm glad that Senator Augustine is doing this. I'm glad that it's getting attention from the Guam legislature. But from the first week of this damn pandemic, we have been asking the governor's office and backing that up with questions to the Guam legislature about this double pay issue. And only 6 weeks later, you guys are going to get involved? Shame on you for taking your sweet ass time to get involved in this 3 pay periods after the frontliners have only been getting the regular rate of pay when they have earned and are entitled to that double rate of pay.
No questions asked. They went and they delivered what they were supposed to.
For real. Without getting a presidential suite.
And even in the beginning of this COVID, they were still unaware of how easy it would be to catch it. You know what I mean? And they went out there and they did their job, and they're still not getting paid. Not only are the frontliners suffering, also the people who have listened to the governor and have stayed home, and now they're freaking starving.
Kelly Rodriguez says FLSA requires them to be paid. I think the Federal or Fair Labor Standards Act is what they're referring to. Susan Redeb says people are suffering while Lou and her administration are dancing around a pile of federal money. Marshall R.C. Jr. says Lustima, the administration was approved $900 plus, almost $1 billion for fiscal 2020 budget. All that money, yet our frontliners are going to battle facing an enemy with sticks and stones as if we are in the caveman days. That's exactly what you were just talking about. James Howard says these senators need to bring the heat. Time to shine, go on the offense, fight with the people, man. Congressman Mike St. Nicholas was basically begging Senator Jim Moylan, please do that. Please get on the administration's case.
You don't ask the governor for permission to oversee the money. If you are using government employees, which is local funds, because you have to pay with local funds, you have every right to know what's going on.
Yes.
So get on it.
Get on it. That should be like a hashtag when Mike St. Nicholas says something, you know.
Yeah.
Hashtag
move it or lose it,
get
sister.
On it, said Congressman MSM. Bunky Meno says, right, but it's okay to spend our tax dollars to live it up while families are starving. Is it appropriate to spend tax dollars? Oh, Diana, thank you. I'll check my messages. Thank you. Patricia Duane says, Troy, something should be telling you that something stinks. We are suffering here because they wanted to stay home. It is ridiculous. Open the effing government.
Well, they opened a little bit. Land management did, so they can do their...
Jerry Cole. Let me do this in my Lulian girl voice. Dear first responder, I am glad you're alive to write this letter. I, too, am a first responder. Remember, I'm a nurse. I cannot pay your double pay because it will cost a lot of money, which will result in my bank's portfolio shrinking. As you know, we don't want that to happen. I hear you, and we are working on a plan. When we have the plan, then we will let you know. Please stay alive and wait. Something will happen, just not right now. Semi-Chief of Staff is at Pacific Star, and we must pay for that because I need him. Love, Lou.
Love, Lulu Bell.
God bless you. And speaking of that Pacific Star Hotel, Jacob Nakamura wrote a kick butt story. It's on our website and on Facebook right now. Take it away, Chalu.
It is often said that the cover-up is worse than the crime, and for Linda DeNorsi and Tony Babalta, that appears to be the case regarding the Pac Star pandemic party. As Candid News first broke last night, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero's Chief of Staff, Tony Babalta, has been staying in the presidential suite of the Pacific Star Hotel, which is designated as a GovGuam quarantine facility. And because he doesn't meet the strict guidelines told to GovGuam by FEMA, His extravagant secret stay at the hotel will not be reimbursable, so your tax dollars will be footing the bill. In an embarrassing attempt to justify Mr. Babauta's pandemic party at the Pac Star, DPHSS Director Linda DeNorsi told KUAM News tonight that DPHSS is paying the bill, Mr. Babauta's presidential suite, and that he was staying there because he wasn't feeling well. Later, the governor's spokeswoman, Janela Carrera, told KUAM that Babauta only stayed at the resort for one night. Pacific Star Hotel records. Internal records on the presidential suite note that the suite, which is room 1909, is booked in the name of Guam Energy Director Rebecca Respicio, who is also staying at the resort. Ms. Respicio is the cabinet member overseeing the quarantine operations, according to the hotel records. The presidential suite was added to the Gov Guam staff/cabinet secret rooms on April 13. A notation in their hotel booking system at 11:17 p.m. reads, was advised by Rebecca that they are also taking this room. Confidentiality, Rebecca will stay in the room previously 1736, now moved to 1909. Do not connect calls to this room per Rebecca. Another notation at the top of this record states, Miss Rebecca, do not call public health, do not connect calls. So despite Janela Carrera's claims that Tony Babauta was only there for one night, hotel records show that the governor's staff secretly secured this room for Mr. Tony Babauta on April 13 and included confidential orders not to tell anyone and not to connect any calls. Hotel staff have reported to Candid that Mr. Babauta has had many visitors in the presidential suite, to include Director Richard Ibanez.
Someone told me that the pool at Pacific Star is worse than the pool at Ganya Pool that's green. And so I was like, well, maybe Richard Ibanez is in charge of it.
Maybe he was there scoping it out. According to hotel records obtained by Candid News, the governor's staff booked the entire 19th floor under the guise of quarantine facility, but that floor consists of all of the other suites and the one presidential suite. Actual members of the public being quarantined are on the lower floors. All government rooms are on the 19th floor, where the executive suites as well as the one presidential suite is at, a member of the Pacific Star staff told Candid News. She wished to have her identity protected in order not to be the subject of retaliation for blowing the whistle on Tony Babauta's Pac Star pandemic party. 1909 is a presidential suite with a whooping $3,219 balance. Most of these rooms have been booked since the 31st of March, a lot of them with the governor's liaisons notes saying, do not call, unsure about who will be using the rooms. Every room on the confidential 19th floor is booked in the name of Guam Energy Director Rebecca Respicio. Can you slide up, Cello, so everyone can see who that is? And just 2 days before secretly booking the presidential suite and other executive suites for her fellow cabinet members, Ms. Rebecca Respicio took to social media to lecture the public about not speaking up against the governor, and she declared that the government does not lie. Respicio, who considers herself an expert in social media and island influencers, wrote a post asking the public and the island influencers to stop questioning the governor and just follow her directives. Quote, truth and facts about COVID-19 are fluid and change so often.
Yeah, that with the administration sure has proved that.
This doesn't mean the government is lying, Rebecca Respicio wrote. Constant and consistent messaging across the board about safety and putting aside differences of opinions is what's needed right now. Just for a moment, can we pause the talks about liberties and freedoms and the talks about controversial decisions? It adds a layer of power on people to defy these measures just so they can prove to whoever that the governor can't dictate their lives. Ms. Respicio commented that she was inspired this morning when I was reading some posts from influencers media that was just stirring up some controversial and very unnecessary comments. Never mind that right now. Life will be inconvenienced for a while. This is a global pandemic. It is global. Inconvenience has to be secondary to life. 2 days later, the social media influencer expert was secretly booking extravagant executive suites for her and other cabinet members and telling staff not to tell anyone the names of the people staying there and to not allow any phone calls through to the secret rooms. The member of the hotel management staff who provided Candid with photos of records on which executive suite and presidential suite and the blocks of rooms for the actual quarantine guests told us Rebecca's name is on every room, passing it off as Department of Public Health. Why are they being so secretive about it and even ordering our staff not to tell anyone, not to let anyone call their rooms on the 19th floor if they are not doing anything wrong, she said. Payment. Candid News has obtained a copy of an email from Adelup officials indicating very clearly that the government of Guam has established an account with federal funds to pay for the quarantine hotel facilities and not local DPHSS funds, as Linda DeNorsi stated to KUAM.
Look, these are the emails provided by Charles Esteves, Administrator of Civil Defense.
Further, every email and every invoice from the hotels are billed as one invoice, so there is no separation of billing for the presidential pandemic party suite that Mr. Babalta helped himself to while the community continues to suffer. As for Ms. Linda DeNorsi's explanation to KUAM News that she allowed Mr. Babalta to enjoy the lavish presidential suite because he was not feeling well, Candid News has decided to heed the advice of the governor's expert social media influencer and just keep our comments to ourselves on this explanation, especially since the pandemic presidential suite party coordinator, Ms. Respicio, insists that the government does not lie to the people. We will say this though, the cover-up is only worse than the crime if you don't get caught.
Cover-ups are bad. They prove conspiracy, and a conspiracy charge, and we know this, a conspiracy charge on top of the actual crime is so much worse than the actual crime. Anyway, so yeah, Jacob said that we're not going to talk about it, but that's Jacob. That's not Johnny and Troy. Of course we're going to talk about it. So where I wanted to take this story, and hopefully Jacob is digging and digging and digging, I love
you, Jacob.
I know, I love Jacob too. Is that Tony Babalta ain't the only Leon Guerrero official staying on the 19th floor of the Pacific Star Hotel or who has stayed there. Because Janela Carrera was dumb enough to post things on her social media, we are aware that she also has not been staying home and has been staying elsewhere, wherever that is, for a month. I would like to know whether Janela Carrera is a recipient of one of these 3 rooms on the 19th floor of the Pacific Star. I believe they're 1909, 1901, and 1927, if I'm not mistaken. Then there's 1736 or 1737, another room which is on the 17th floor, which also was being used as a Department of Public Health room. There's just so much going on here, so much our government is hiding from us. And I have to tell you, yes, I was a part of a crooked administration, but the crookedness was very concentrated on like Champ Calvo, Governor Eddie Calvo's first cousin who was on the take for a lot of stuff, right? In the Calvo administration, we did not do things like this. We did not like have hotel rooms or buy alcohol or just these stupid, they're small, by comparison to like the Calvo heist, but they're just so arrogant and in your face and like rampant. This corruption that's going on in the Leon Guerrero administration, and they just throw it in our faces. And I don't know if they just thought that they would never get caught. I can't imagine that they would be stupid enough to think that something like that wouldn't get out, which leads me to think that they just don't care. You know, it doesn't matter to them if the people find out about it. They're just gonna throw up a nice fancy lie like, oh, the governor's chief of staff wasn't feeling well. That's why I said okay for the room. And then when Chris Barnett
I'm not feeling well.
Exactly. So Chris Barnett asked her, you know, so if a member of the public is not feeling well and doesn't want to go get tested,
and doesn't want to go home to infect their family,
can they use the presidential suite at the Pacific Star? And Linda just gives a completely politically rhetorical answer. Doesn't answer the question at all. It's just so full of it. And so in the coming days, we hope to bring you more stories as soon as we're able to validate things about who else is staying at the Pacific Star Hotel and what other stories of corruption are happening as people suffer during this pandemic. And the governor says, oh, there's no money for all of you people. We're going to have to wait. And she tries to blame it on the congressmen or the senators
or the federal government,
Trump administration.
For putting it's so broad and we don't know the rules and we need to figure out the rules. Well, maybe if you got someone with an actual license, a law license, maybe it wouldn't take so long.
Maybe, Governor, if you were not as slow as the spread of the COVID-19 infection, you know. Sorry, I had to. That was very insulting to the MAGA hogat. But together on Sunday, we are going to pray together in front of the cathedral. And I am going to ask God to cleanse me of my sins, of all the smack I have been talking. And when we are done with that confession at church and the Eucharist on Sunday, clean slate, we're going to come back onto Candid News and talk some more smack. Is there anything else?
Can we play
Yes, I'm looking
Chubby
for
Robbie?
it right now. There is a request and dedication for Chubby Robbie. We're going to play both.
Oh, wait. Wait,
There's a new one?
Ismael Velez says it's a distraction. They play Hess dirty deeds in public to hide something sinister that's brewing.
So something even bigger.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Ismael. Is there another dance that Chubby Robbie did?
My sister didn't send it to you?
No.
Check fan?
On WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Hang on. When was it?
Today, or like around 4?
Send it, Prim.
I don't have it, Prim.
Hold on.
Is the new one he's bringing?
Jacob says smack talking warms my cold heart.
Mr. Babauta, if you're listening, Don, we need microgreens.
Microgreens? What's that?
Nothing.
Microgreens, because he's selling microgreens in his house.
Oh, microgreens. I think that's his girlfriend that sells that. I was like, who's Michael Greens? Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. There was something else I was going to ask us to do in our display of civil obedience for Sunday. This goes beyond the whole church. This is just about how bad the governor and her administration are treating us. What I wanted to ask all of you, if we really want to make a difference, aside from the civil disobedience protest going to mass thing this Sunday at the cathedral, the other thing that we can do to truly make a difference is this. If you have a Bank of Guam account, I implore you, tomorrow, then the roads are not, they're not filled with traffic and stuff, so it might not be so difficult to do. But tomorrow, if you're a senior citizen, hold on, let me find it. I have the information here. Go to Community First in Tumuning. It's a bank. And between 8:30 and 9:30, if you are Manamku or you have special needs, you can go in there. And from 9:30 to 2 p.m., if you're not Manamku or if you don't have special needs, go to Community First in Dededo or Tumuning. And they're very nice there. This is where we bank. They're not an advertiser. I if I'm going to make a recommendation, I need to make the recommendation, based on something that I know to be true. And I know that the people at Community First are very nice. Move your bank account there. All you need is 2 forms of ID. It's very easy. And you never, I promise you this too, you never actually have to bring your ID back because they take a picture of you. And so whenever you go up to the teller, they already have your picture as soon as you give your membership number. And that's how they verify your identity. So you don't even have to bring your picture with you after the first time. So just, there's a minimum $20 balance if you're going to open is it a savings account or checking account or whatever. And if you need to transfer, like let's say you get direct deposit from the government of Guam, all you do is get that off of the GovGuam website and just fill out that form and submit it. And by the next pay period, they will process your direct deposit into your new bank account. But if you really want to make a difference, if you really want to get Governor Lulian Guerrero's attention, change your bank account from Bank of Guam. It don't have to be Community First. It could be any other bank. But truly, it really is how you can actually make an impact. And the governor will hear what you're saying is if she starts seeing that bank accounts are moving away from her family's bank. I meant to say that in the beginning, and I completely forgot. I got a new video.
It's there. You have to open it on your computer so that Eric can play it.
It's a new one?
Yeah, or one of his new one, or one.
Is it the one with the tuna? Because I already played that one.
No.
I think he's wearing one.
It's all black. He's wearing all black.
All black.
Oh, that is a new one. Okay. Hey, you Biko, you scared the crap out of me.
Can you open it?
Oh, I'm gonna have to play that back.
I hate you guys.
There.
Press play.
Oh my God, it's a new one. How do I make it bigger?
There you go. Wait, mine's not yet.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Ready.
Yeah, boy.
I want an autograph right now. Does he live in Saipan? He does, right?
Yes.
His name is Robert Suzuki Jr. This is his new one. I'm not on TikTok because I don't want China to have all of my information. But like, if you guys
know
see
him,
new stuff coming out, please send it to me because I live for this stuff. I am his number 1 fan. For Candid News, I'm Troy Torres.
And I'm Johnny Rosario.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.